Why a lot of people in high ticket sales don't crack 10K months. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to have a deeper conversation with your prospect so that you can actually start cracking 10K months. So if you're anyone that doesn't know me and you're new to the channel, my name is James Harper. I've been in sales now for 15 years, 10 years specifically in face-to-face sales. Also doing obviously millions and millions of dollars in high ticket sales. So grab a pen and paper because this is going to help elevate your skill set. Most closers, remote salespeople, they don't know how to actually communicate with a prospect because one, they haven't done the internal work themselves. And you might say, well, James, what is the internal work? That is just evolving every single year. You need to be shedding obviously skin. You need to be working on your internal game so that you can have a more deep, meaningful conversation with your prospect. So I'm going to give you a few different situations so you can actually improve, right? And it's probably not your fault, but it is going to be your problem to fix in 2026 if you want to crack these 10K months. So you've been told to obviously follow a script, you've got a framework, right? And because you're running on a program of going from that question to that question to that question to that question, you're not actually listening to what your prospect is saying because you're not truly present. So let me give you a prime example, right? You obviously ask your prospect saying, okay, and how long has obviously that been a problem for you? And they'll say something like, yeah, well, to be honest, it's been tough, obviously, the last kind of, few years. My son obviously had, a serious injury and I had to obviously support him a lot. And yeah, the job's just been super tough lately. Oh, okay. And what's been tough about the job, just to help me understand? Okay. Now you've completely missed what he said. So now that the prospect doesn't feel heard. He mentioned that his son had gone through a difficult time, and obviously it put kind of a lot of stress on himself, right? So you're going to turn around, you're going to say, oh, okay, well, look, thank you for sharing that with me. And like, regarding your son, is he okay now? Like, yeah, if you don't mind, like, what actually happened? So now you're getting the prospect to feel more comfortable because they're opening up about a situation that they chose to share with you. But what a average closer that's making 5K a month will say is, okay, and what's been tough about the job? And you're not even humanizing yourself. You're not getting to a deeper level connection with the prospect because you don't know how to like handle a difficult conversation. You're not being a fucking human being, right? Let me give you another example. Yeah, it's just been difficult the last 12 months, my partner's obviously had a real serious illness and it's just kind of knocked us back for six. And yeah, things have not been going too well with the business at the moment. Okay, and like in terms of the business, like what's obviously not been going well? He's just told you that his wife has had a serious illness. But you hear business, what's been going wrong with the business because you're like a robot and you're just following your questions and not being a human, and you're not wanting to genuinely connect with that prospect so they're not feeling heard. This is why you absolutely suck. And this stuff is so simple, but your guru coach doesn't teach you this because he's probably got some scripts and frameworks from someone else and he's just selling you a course. And that is why you're stuck at 5K under. This is exactly what we teach inside our RSA. So you're going to say, okay, look, thank you for sharing that with me, John. In terms of like your wife now, is she on the mend now? You said it was obviously quite a serious illness. Is it something that's obviously a lot better now? Now that person again feels heard. You're not speaking about the label he just said about, the business has been super tough because we've planted that in our mind because we're a sharp elite closer. We haven't got brain fog when we come to the call, so we can pocket that to go back to it a little bit later. But now we're going to build a human connection because you are a genuine human being. If you're only in sales to just make money and not actually try and serve that person, that gentleman, right, might feel like he can offload with you because he might not have a friend circle or a family that he can let off. So you being there to be able to obviously listening to him talk about the pain that he's been going through is making him feel better, which is then building a better connection with you, which is building more trust. Yeah. So once you've said that, and you carry on having a conversation on that for 2, 3, 4 minutes, and then you're going to say, and earlier, John, you said obviously, and I completely understand why, business has been tough with what you shared there about your wife. But yeah, just to help me understand, just to see if we could even possibly help you in the future, what do you mean, the business has been tough at the moment? Oh, well, I've just been not focused lately, and the time wasn't right for me to kind of start scaling the business. And yeah, completely understandable, and congrats to you for even still pushing through and doing what you can with the business while your wife was going through what she's gone through. So I completely understand why at that time, it wasn't something that you could work on. But am I fair to say things are obviously getting better, and that's why you're actually looking at this now? Is it more of a better time to look at this now? So what we're now doing, right, is we're understanding that we don't want a time objection to come up at the end, and we're getting him to confirm that, yeah, this is the right time for me to be looking at this, because that situation with his wife is now obviously past and it's getting a lot better. And now he's looking to put more attention obviously onto the business so that he can scale it. Yeah. So you need to get him to confirm that the time is right now and get him to justify that. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just going to come back at the end. And then you'll be like, well, why didn't I pick that up? Because if you don't ask that question, he might say, oh, well, my wife's obviously also got, a serious surgery coming up obviously in the next month. And to be honest with you, I need to be there for her, so it's not the right time. Yeah. So you need to obviously be able to understand where he is on a time scale of when he's looking to obviously take action and get the support that he needs to grow his business. So that should be super simple for you to understand, because that is just being a human being, right? And you're also coming across with more caring authority. You understand that there's been a bad situation, right? But you also understand that he's on a call for a reason, because he wants to get his business back on track. He wants to scale it. Yeah. Let me give you another example, right? And this is absolute source that I'm giving you for free on YouTube, right? Someone, you want a fitness offer, right? They come to the call, yeah, and say, you say, so yeah, what's been going on? Do you have an idea of what the goal is for you when it comes to losing weight? Yeah. I know what the goal is. It's just I've been struggling a lot lately, and I just feel like I've been super depressed. Not been able to leave the house as much as I would want lately. They've just told you all of that. And then you go, well, how much weight would you like to use? Instead of actually listening to what they've said, because you want the goal. Oh, I want to lose 20 kilograms. That's what you want, right? But he has just told you, or that person has told you, that they haven't left the house much. They've been depressed. Yeah. So think about the consciousness and the courage, yeah, that person has had to book a call with you. They might feel anxious, yeah? So they're coming in a state of potentially shame, fear, coming to that call because it took a lot of courage for them to book the call. They know that they're overweight, yeah? They've been depressed. They haven't left the house. And you've just turned around and said, okay. And in terms of the goal, how much weight do you want to lose? Imagine you pouring your heart out to someone over the phone or on Zoom, and they completely didn't even respond to what you said. And you've probably not even shared that with maybe your friends or even your family. And you turn around and they turn around and just say, yeah, so how much weight do you want to lose? Do you come across like you care? Do you come across genuine? Do you come across like you want to connect with that person? Because you get triggered when your prospects stay surface level. Yeah? You get triggered because you can't get deeper with your prospect. But you can't go deep with your prospects and create a genuine connection, yeah, with care and authority, But you get triggered when your prospects are surface level. But you can't go deeper because you're running on a framework and a script. And this is exactly why you're making shit money and you're not cracking 10K months or 20K months, is because you don't have the right systems. Yeah, you don't have the right operating system of your perceived perception of how you should be showing up to a sales call. Because if that was me, right, I would use this exact tonality and I'd say, John, like, I just want to say thank you for even having the courage to, show up today and share that with me. But just to kind of like help me understand, you said obviously you haven't left the house much. Is that something that's been, listen to what my tonality is, is that something that's been going on for a while now? Yeah, it's been about 6 months now. Okay, and like in terms of you not leaving the house, like again, I don't want to assume, but do you work from home, or do you have to actually travel to go to work? What am I doing? I'm trying to find out, has this person got a job? Yeah, I'm trying to financially qualify them as well. Yeah. Oh no, I obviously go to work. Okay, and is this kind of like having any kind of stress or impact on you at work? Yes. Bingo, more pain. Okay. And now I'm going to remember the word depressed. And you said earlier as well, like, you feel like you've been a little bit depressed. That can be for multiple reasons. Some people do come to us. It's very common that they feel that way when they are a little bit overweight. But for you personally, like, just to help me understand, like, did this kind of like depression start kicking in once you started staying at home 6 months ago? Like, what do you mean by, like, you've been depressed? Just to help me understand. And now all of a sudden they're speaking about themselves. Their shoulders are dropping. They're more relaxed. They're now having a more of a heart-to-heart conversation with you. Yeah? You're actually understanding what the root of the problem is. They don't want to lose 20 kilograms. Yeah? That is just the number. Yeah? That is like a level 1 goal. What they want is their life back on track. They want to be able to leave the house. They want to have more energy. They don't want brain fog when they wake up, right? They want to be vibrating at a high frequency. Yeah? They want to actually feel their shoes and hit their full potential in the future. Yeah? But if you just say, oh, okay, and how long have obviously you been, feeling that way? Yeah? You've got to add context to your questioning. So that prospect is like, do you know what, this guy's a nice guy, man. He's taking his time out to understand me and my personal situation. And not just by saying, oh, okay, and like, how long have you not left the house for? Because he's also said that he's depressed. Yeah? You really want to find out what is going on in his world. Because he could share something like, yeah, I've just split with my partner. There's just been a tragic death in the family. Yeah? But you chose to just ask a direct question because it's on your script, and you're just looking at your script and you're like, oh, I need to follow this. That's why you're never going to make the money that you want. It's not your fault, but it is going to be your problem to fix. Because if you don't fix the way that you communicate with your prospects, right, you might not even make it on the team. Because someone that comes in with the right training, yeah, and they've had training by myself, yeah, they literally could be coming onto your team and taking your spot because they understand how to go deep with a conversation with a prospect. So I know this has been super valuable. I would go back and watch this again, take notes, and start listening to the labels of what your prospects are actually saying on the call instead of going to your next question, and sit there for another 3 to 5 minutes, right? And I guarantee you build a lot more trust, yeah? And they're going to open up to you a lot more, and you're going to get to the real reason, the root problem of why they're on the call. And you're going to be able to help a lot more people and make a lot more money in the process. I'll see you all in the next video.